Tropical development chance continues to increase for the week ahead. I've got all the new information you need to know. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We are your home for Caribbean weather. It's great to see you on this Friday. Hope you're doing well. Coming up in this video, we're going to be talking about two potential tropical development areas. As we move over the next 5 to 7 days, one of those areas continues to quickly increase in the potential risk. We'll talk about that, all the newest model information, get you prepared for the weekend with the island-by-island rainfall forecast as well. As always, Meteo Mundo is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys, offering free consultation and policy reviews. They'll walk you through the insurance claim process. Friends, go to leanombilaw.com for more information. And as always, love to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comments section below what's been happening in your area, what the weather has been like. So we still have our two areas from yesterday, our low chance for development in the northwest Bahamas towards the southeast coast of Florida, and our area in orange now, which has already skyrocketed to a 50% chance of development in the coming week. I'm going to have a lot more in this area coming up. Let's first of all actually talk about this area in yellow because it's obviously situated over part of our region right now, and it's already bringing some extremely gusty winds and pockets of heavy rain back to the northern, northwest, and even the central Bahamas at the hour. The low-level center is actually trying to spin right over the Eleuthera area, and you can see that there was actually some lightning in association with this. So even though we get a little bit of low-level rotation here, there's still a heck of a lot of shear in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and nothing is really trying to develop this anytime soon. I'll break down the models for you coming up, but in the short term, this is a rainmaker and this is a big wind producer for the northwest Bahamas and the eastern coast of Florida. Look at Freeport there on Grand Bahama. They had a 33-mile-an-hour wind gust earlier, and up and down the east coast of Florida, 15, 20 to 30-mile-an-hour sustained winds and gusts that have even been approaching 40 miles an hour from time to time. All kinds of coastal flood advisories, the opportunity to see 1 to 2 foot above normal tide cycles there on the east coast of Florida, beach erosion, dune erosion. Unfortunately, it's going to be a problem because this area is not going to move much. The Hurricane Center has actually shrunk this development area here. So we're going to stay with the onshore flow in the east coast of Florida. We're going to continue to develop some scattered showers and a few rumbles of thunder across especially the northern and the northwest Bahamas over the weekend. And we could still see pockets of heavy rain. Now, it's not going to be as widespread as what we saw over Imelda, but we've had the flooding issues not that long ago at all, especially in New Providence and other areas of the northern Bahamas, the Abacos included. So we don't need to put a lot more water on the ground at this point in time, but with this broad center not moving much, there is an opportunity for that to happen. Now, we'll see scattered showers developing in the central and the southeast Bahamas as well, but if anything, this broad system is expected to drift northwest over the next couple of days. Told you it's not horrible everywhere because a live look outside to Long Island in the Bahamas, just a little bit south of where that center is, and it's been a fairly quiet late Friday afternoon. Again, some passing showers still possible, but they don't even have the wind like the northern Bahamas have at this point in time. Other areas of impacts that I'm going to be watching, just want to give you a broad perspective as we move on now. Puerto Rico, St. Thomas, St. John, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, all under high surf advisories. For the British Virgin Islands and the Leeward Islands, you guys are going to be going under a high surf warning, more than likely for the remainder of the weekend. Big time swells still being produced by the remnants of Umberto and Imelda, especially on the northern coast of all of those islands. Turks and Caicos have a high surf advisory. Things are churned up in the open waters of the Atlantic east of the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos. Barbados will be dealing with some northerly swells at 5 to 7 feet. And down in Panama, we have some flood warning. So let's kind of get into all of that. Going to go back over to our infrared satellite imagery. And again, some isolated showers popping up over the Acklins and Mayaguana, portions of Inagua, Turks and Caicos. Breezy conditions outside of that with the elevated surf and sea conditions. Thunderstorms are very active right now over Cuba. We've had more active weather today in the Cayman Islands. We're trying to drift a couple of thunderstorms right into the islands earlier today. We had a few strokes of lightning there over Grand Cayman, Little Cayman and Cayman Brac. We're on the cusp of getting some rain, but obviously there's a lot more moisture in the atmosphere over these areas, and the opportunity will be there the remainder of this late Friday and into our Saturday as well. Hey, once again, thunderstorms are breaking out in a pretty darn good fashion over a lot of Jamaica at the hour. Began earlier this afternoon on the eastern side of the island. So a few hours ago, the thunderstorms were really prominent over portions of St. Catherine and St. Andrew, Kingston, even the western sides of St. Thomas and Portland, southern sides of St. Mary parishes. So Kingston, Portmore, Spanish Town, Halfway Tree areas, getting some heavier thunderstorms and some lightning. If you've got some of that, let me know in the comments section below. And then over the last couple of hours, the storms have kind of redeveloped and moved a little bit farther to the west. Solid lightning again, interior sections just south of Ocho Rios there, north of the Mandeville area, Santa Cruz, on over towards Cambridge. And again, these thunderstorms are now even more prominent on the northern part of the island, back towards Montego Bay, but even a few strokes of lightning to the port of the Kingston area as well. So it's just been very widespread. Maybe not the far eastern side of the island, but everyone else with a pretty good opportunity for some showers and storms. So my friends in Jamaica, please let me know if you've had any of that activity. And look, my friends, the weather is just quite active, the western half of the Caribbean. There's a ton of tropical moisture in play right now, a lot of lift in the atmosphere. Even though we don't have an organized tropical system, it's going to be a wet weekend ahead. Thunderstorms are also breaking up pretty efficiently, especially again in Haiti for today and the western sides of the Dominican Republic. It has been quieter for Puerto Plata, the Samana Peninsula, Punta Cana, Santo Domingo, San Pedro de Macorís, but Port-au-Prince towards the western side of the island, again, pretty active weather. Fairly quiet today in most of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. We're beginning to see a couple of showers pop up right now. When it hasn't been raining, we've had the extreme heat warnings from time to time. Tortola has had a 25-mile-an-hour wind gust. A few thunderstorms are trying to develop at the hour right now. What do you say we take a live look to our radar out of Puerto Rico? Again, central, southern sides of the islands towards the Cuamo area, east of Yauco, Ponce, a couple of scattered showers, a few rumbles of thunder. Still some locally heavy downpours are likely with this, but it's even more isolated today. That being said, things are going to be quickly changing in Puerto Rico, and we are in store for some very active weather for our Saturday with multiple rounds of showers and storms and probably some prolific heavy rainfall in some of the island as well. So that's something I'll be monitoring here as we're going to get a lot more disturbed weather sneaking in from the north into the east and also into the western sides of the Atlantic Basin, just kind of swinging back in. More tropical moisture coming in. Now again, this orange area is our potential tropical development area, and I will highlight that coming up, I promise. But let's talk about what's happening right now. Few scattered showers and a rumble of thunder for portions of the Leeward Islands for today. The high surf advisory upgraded to a high surf warning. Barbuda, a couple of scattered showers towards Antigua, Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, Saba, St. Eustatius, Montserrat, again, all with the opportunity for a passing shower. Elevated rain chances will be back into the forecast starting tomorrow as well. And we'll see additional showers and storms continue to develop and work their way over portions of Guadeloupe, Dominica, and Martinique. We've had some good thunderstorm activity on the southern sides of Martinique. You live on the island, please let me know in the comments section below. Same thing for Dominica. It's been a little bit quieter, more churned up sea conditions over portions of the Windward Islands from St. Lucia to Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada back down towards TNT. Of course, our live camera from Corinth, St. Lucia. Beautiful afternoon, little bit of a breeze, a lot of blue sky. Enjoy it. We're not going to have as much rain over this area over the weekend as areas to the north in the Lesser Antilles, but overall rain chances might be coming up just a tick here or there. Before I move on, by the way, I did note that there was an earthquake just north of St. Vincent earlier today. Is it Chateau Bel Air? Because if it is, that's a fantastic name. So about 19 kilometers north, and it was a pretty decent magnitude 4.8 earthquake. So if you live on St. Vincent or even the southern coastline of St. Lucia and you felt that earthquake, let me know in the comments section below. Always curious to see if we, again, is there appreciable impacts from some of these earthquakes that I'm picking up. We can see a little bit of shower activity redevelop here in the southern sides of the Windward Islands, including even Nueva Esparta, but TNT with the opportunity for a few rumbles of thunder. You can see that passing showers more than anything at the hour. Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, we've had a little bit of cloud coverage for today. Still that low opportunity for storms off the mainland with a southwest wind trying to get up to Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao for today. But generally speaking, we're still going to be mainly dry. I can't rule out an isolated shower. Again, some of that will be evening and overnight. But most of the time you get this gorgeous shot, the sun just glistening off the coastal waters, a fresh breeze there in Ranjastad, the Eagle Beach area, but folks just enjoying another picture perfect day. Yellow flags at the beaches, but what else is new? Another gorgeous shot for us there. Rain chances, unfortunately, will be relatively limited in that area for time to come. Much more prolific showers and storms in the southwest side of the Caribbean. That has promoted the flood warnings for Panama. We've had some scattered storms in Costa Rica for today, some gusty winds on the Pacific coastline. Thunderstorms are becoming much more numerous in nature later this Friday for Nicaragua, towards Honduras. We've had passing showers and storms for the Bay Islands, towards Belize. And you notice that some of this activity is actually developing inland and just kind of building along the coast or hugging along the coastline. There hasn't been a lot of movement with the storm. So where they've developed, we've had some locally heavy rain and a ton of lightning for today. Look at this lightning count in Quintana Roo in the northern sides of the Yucatan, of the Central America, just absolutely skyrocket in the last couple of hours. So there's a lot of instability. There's a ton of lightning being produced out of this. These are some dangerous storms with all the lightning. Cancun, Cozumel, Tulum, Merida areas east of Campeche. We've seen a few thunderstorms again. San Pedro, Belize, even inland towards San Ignacio. It's an active forecast for days to come. Good news for my friends in Bermuda. Behind what was left over from Imelda, things are going to be quieter as well. So let's get into what's going to be happening tropically. And as we do so, again, simple payback, my friends. You get anything out of these videos, I really do appreciate you taking a quick second, hitting that like button for me. Helps the channel more than you think. You want the tropical updates, your daily forecasts across the Caribbean and the Bahamas. I promise you found your home. Come join our fantastic weather community by hitting that subscribe button right now. Memberships are open, and I appreciate all the members of the channel. We have 2 tiers. You can be a supporter for 99 cents a month. You get custom badges and emojis during our live streams. You want to kick it up a notch. On a Team service there, the memberships for $2.99 a month, you get access to exclusive member shorts. I do some quick video updates from time to time in between these longer format videos. And the awesome thing now is that if you've been waiting to become a member because you have an iPhone or an iPad, now memberships are available on Apple iOS devices. That is a new thing. Let's talk about the hurricane season overall, guys. Updated numbers for you. Now 9 named storms. 4 of those have become hurricanes. And of the 4 hurricanes, we've actually had 3 major ones. Only Imelda was not a major hurricane. The other 3 were. NOAA's forecast, obviously, we're still running behind as far as named storms go, and certainly behind 2024. But let me tell you this right now, my friends, at least the next 3 weeks look to be on the active side where we could have multiple named storms that will be cropping up. So let's get into that. I really think we are going to be falling under a fairly active tropical forecast through at least, mid-20s October, but could even be closer to Halloween. So wave coming off the West African coast. The Hurricane Center has already shot this right up to a 50% chance to develop it. It's still going to take some time. It's still battling a little bit of drier air and a touch of shear in the eastern side of the Atlantic. But over the weekend, and especially starting on Monday, it's going to move into a more favorable environment. It's going to be interacting with another disturbance, by the way, and those two are going to kind of conglomerate together and form what is likely to be a pretty powerful wave moving through that should consolidate in the western Atlantic. Now, you can clearly see that the forecast is for this to be a lower latitude storm where potential development is into the eastern Caribbean. Obviously, there is still a lot of detail to be borne out. We don't even have an area of low pressure yet. We just have a wave that's emerging off the West African coast. There is still plenty of give in the models, but the first blush look at the models do have the potential for some impacts to the Eastern Caribbean by late next week, and that's something I'll be closely monitoring. So again, whereas our area in yellow in the Bahamas stays at a 10% chance, we're up to a 50% chance already here in the Atlantic Basin. So let's get into the models with these storms and these developing systems here. I'm going to bring up, we'll begin with the GFS as we typically do and then move on from there. So let me pop that up. I was doing a couple things behind the scenes. I'm only going to go out a week. We're going to go out to next Friday evening and show you what the models are going to show you from here. So again, we'll pick this up kind of midstream, but you can clearly see that, with the GFS deterministic, that's something to monitor for the rest of all of next week. So again, slow consolidation, nothing happening over the weekend. Maybe by Monday and Tuesday, we start to see a low-level center begin to form, but just over time through this area in orange, conditions look to be favorable. The models are hinting at getting a next system developing. And again, this one would more than likely be a named storm as it tries to move somewhere in this area. Now, the recurve scenario before the Caribbean is certainly still in play. There is nothing set in stone, but we do have a lower latitude track overall through the main development region of the Atlantic, which would put a little bit more of a potential into the Lesser Antilles. And you can clearly see that from the hurricane center. Now, up the road here for this area, it almost stays put or moves slightly off towards the east. The funny thing about what might be happening near the Bahamas and the southeast coast of Florida is nothing could emerge from this little center just east of New Providence right now, but next week, a secondary area could form almost in that same spot. And that one shows a little bit more signs of potential development on the models. It could be an active forecast for the Western Atlantic Basin, even the Gulf, and even the Northwest Caribbean. The models are hinting at some potential development in the next 7 days. Let's take a look at the wind profile from this, and I'm going to chop off that orange area because it'll just be a little bit easier for you guys to see. So again, these are going to be your surface-based winds from the GFS model. So again, very broad area that only begins to consolidate by about at earliest Monday, more than likely Tuesday, Wednesday, and then just tracking through. Again, don't look at exactly where it's going. That's not nearly as important as the fact that the GFS model just at this point in time continues to show a system that looks to be getting better organized through next week, and we'll figure out where it's going to go from there. But, this is a system that we will be watching very closely right on through that time frame. And again, just to kind of give you guys an idea, this would be pushing into the Northeast Caribbean time frame wise as we get into late next Friday. But impacts would likely be felt a little bit before that based on this timing. But we're still a week out from that. So here is that system again around the Bahamas, just a really broad area. Nothing ever is defined. You can see a little bit of spin around that. The one thing I'm going to mention though is if you live along the east coast of Florida, you're going to continue to see winds of 30, even gusting to 40 miles an hour through the weekend. Sustained winds 15 to 25, gusts to 30 and 40. There's all kinds of coastal flood advisories, flood warnings, tide conditions 1 to 2 feet above normal tide, and 5 to 8 foot breakers at the coast. So there's some significant onshore wind that's going to be causing some problems. Very breezy conditions for Walker's Key and Grand Bahama and the Abacos and Bimini down towards Eleuthera, Nassau, New Providence, and the Andros area over the weekend as well. But again, as far as a consolidated system, I don't expect that from that 10% chance. European model, here we go. Again, nothing developing here over the weekend. Watch our wave begin to get going Tuesday, Wednesday, as we get into Thursday and Friday. Now, on the European models, both the normal ensemble and the AI version, you have two camps. Now, they're not very far apart, but we are starting to get two camps. You have the farther southwest camp with more impacts for the Leeward Islands, and then you have a little bit more of a northeast camp, that recurve scenario here. Right now, the ensembles on the European model look to be split at about 50-50. So that's a good sign that we're starting to see some of the models with a little bit more of a recurve, but at this point, again, we just kind of take that broad brush look here and continue to monitor the situation. Notice that the European model also has a couple of areas in the Northwest Caribbean, and then a few that have developed over the Bahamas and work their way back off towards the east. So this is a prominent area, but mid next week, there might be multiple other areas west of there to be monitoring as well. AI version of the ensemble member of the European, here we go again. Quiet in the Bahamas over the weekend. Here comes our development area really getting cranked up by Wednesday, Thursday. There's a secondary area that I've already mentioned of the Bahamas, and we're even a little bit more of a split on the AI version. We have some models even farther northeast, but we have others on the ensemble that are even farther southwest in the more clustered European model ensemble, the normal one, if you will, not the AI version. So just to show you that even within those two, there's a little bit of a difference. We still have, again, some development in the Western Atlantic Basin and more development possible, either Northwest Caribbean or portions of the Gulf. Now, up close to these areas, here you go. So watch this again developing. Nothing happening over the weekend, just a big wind maker, but by midweek, we get a couple of potential areas, some of them drifting west, some of the other European models want to take it north and east, but the genesis of this, if you will, would be over the Bahamas again by mid next week. So this is another area to very closely monitor here. And again, we're not talking about a ton of time away. We're just talking about 4 or 5 days from now. Looking at the rainfall, when I showed you this yesterday, the European model had a maximum of 10 inches of rain across the northwest Bahamas. Because that area is slightly further east, it's trying to keep the significant rain away from the islands. And I'm showing this because of all the flooding from Imelda in this part of the Bahamas. We need to keep the heavier rain away. So instead of seeing 4 to 6 inches of rain now for the week ahead, it's more like 2, 3, maybe 4 at most. But let's get these numbers even lower, and you can see that there's going to be some significant rain along portions of the Florida East Coast for you guys as well. Again, we need that rain to be as minimal as possible in those areas. Let's talk about the rest of the forecast for you guys, and we're going to go island by island for you. And again, you have any specific questions about the forecast so far, especially about anything tropically, feel free to drop it in the comment section below. All right, so let's get into it here. Let's see, what did I do? What did I do? Just got to bring up the reflectivity. It'll take 1/2 second. There we go. All right, this should pop up and we should be good to go. All right, so again, broad system, still some rain spiraling in, and this might take just a second to fully loop up here, but you get the idea that if we can keep the core of those yellows, oranges, and reds just east of the islands, that's good. We're going to get some squalls. We're still going to get some heavier downpours even into the central side of the Bahamas, and that could even back build down to Turks and Caicos, where again we have the high surf advisories and the small craft advisories, things like that. So it's an active weekend ahead with blustery, squally conditions, but hopefully not flooding rains. We're still going to have high rain chances in this area, but let's just keep the core of that away. Interesting thing about it too is that, some of the models are even a little bit more interested in something up here in the north central side of the Gulf. It always bears watching this time of the year. This is what I'm talking about when I say an active pattern, regardless of whether there's an inherent tropical disturbance, there's rich tropical moisture, waves moving through that elevate that rain chance. And friends, look how active of a period I think it's going to be for the Yucatan and most of Central America for the coming weekend. Waves of rain moving through, they're going to be widespread. They're going to produce some significant rainfall from time to time. There's no flood watches or warnings at this point, but always check in with your local government and officials. Something like heavy rainfall and flooding is quick to occur in some of these locations, and you just need to be weather aware for what could be some significant rain impacts over the weekend, and obviously potentially impacting your outdoor plans if you have any. I don't want to say it's a washout, but there's a lot of green on this map from Cancun, Cozumel, down towards Belize City, Roatan, Utila, Guanaja. Scattered showers should continue for the Cayman Islands. My friends in Jamaica have really seen some locally heavy storms in the afternoon hours, what really looks like about the last week or so. And I do expect an elevated rain chance and storm chance overall to continue across the island. Rich tropical moisture still feeding that far north into the Caribbean. Again, Turks and Caicos look like a pretty good rain chance. Same situation with building rain chances again for Haiti and the DR. So we've been a little bit dry the last couple of days on the eastern side of the island. That should begin to improve. And again, if I zoom this out, you're going to see this huge trough line getting pushed through the Atlantic and some of that moisture dropping to the south, other moisture developing east to west as we typically see with the trade winds, and you combine all of that and you've just got a lot of ample lift, and it's like a wet sponge, and we're going to be squeezing it out. So I've got good rain chances for Puerto Rico, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, Virgin Gorda, Yost Van Dyke, Anegada. Who else am I missing? Tortola, my friends there as well. All of the Virgin Islands are going to see some wet weather. Rain chances improving. Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart's, Saba, St. Eustatius, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, Antigua, Barbuda. Again, the high surf warning. Boaters, be very cautious. The swells should be fairly prominent in these areas as well. Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique. Again, it'll be a little bit more scattered here, but just like today, where did we have the heaviest thunderstorm activity? It was along those islands. So even though the rain may be a little bit more localized, it could be very prominent in those spots as well. We could still see some swell action across Barbados, at least through Saturday, with scattered showers coming down towards St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. My friends in Grenada, TNT, again, just not as much green on the map here. A lot of the heaviest moisture is in combination combination with this trough way up here. So you just have more up north overall. Scattered rain for Nueva Esparta, and we're going to try and squeeze out a couple of showers here and there for the ABC Islands. Here's what it looks like. 60% chance at least the next couple of days, the Northwest Bahamas. 40 on Monday as that broad low slowly moves north. Central and Southeast Bahamas, scattered showers over the weekend, 30 on Monday. Turks and Caicos, the same situation. Still elevated rain chances in Cuba, 70% chance every day. Cayman Islands kind of back and forth. I think Sunday's a slightly better chance for a few storms. Still though, have to get a little bit lucky for it to cross right over your part of the island. Belize City's rain chances, not horrible tomorrow, but look at the buildup. 60 Sunday, 70 on Monday. Cancun and Cozumel, fairly wet and stormy. Again, I don't want to call it a washout, but you saw what happened today. So beachgoers, please be very cautious outdoors, no doubt about it. Jamaica's 50% chance tomorrow, 40 Sunday, 50 on Monday. So elevated overall. Dominican Republic, 70 tomorrow, still 60 Sunday and Monday. High rain chances in Puerto Rico tomorrow at an 80% chance. Should dry out a bit on Sunday and Monday. U.S. and British Virgin Islands, 80 tomorrow, still elevated Sunday and Monday. Thankfully, Bermuda should be mainly dry. Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, again, 50, 60, and even 70% chance the next couple of days. It doesn't potentially add up to a ton of rain in all of these areas, but multiple rounds of showers, absolutely possible. Antigua Barbuda, 50% chance over the weekend, 60 Monday. How about a 70 tomorrow? Montserrat, Guadeloupe, still elevated Sunday, Monday. Dominica, Martinique, still looking like some good rain chances. They'll drop a little bit. Again, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. Localized showers and storms, Barbados tomorrow, 40 Sunday, 30 on Monday. And again, it's a little bit dry. Even TNT dries out a little bit over the weekend as well. Suriname and Guyana with moderate rain chances, and then fairly dry with just an isolated shower chance in Nueva Esparta and the ABC Islands. Obviously, we're going to continue to see churned up conditions in the Western Atlantic Basin. First of all, again, over the weekend, yes, it could quiet down a little bit early next week. So you could see some of these wave heights begin to fall a bit Monday and Tuesday, but still some fresh swells coming into the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos. But obviously, whatever this ends up being is going to kick things right back up. And oh, by the way, again, the potential area of low pressure redeveloping in the Bahamas midweek and pushing back up the Gulf Stream across the U.S. East Coast. So there's a heck of a lot of greens and yellows on this map. And that indicates 8, 9, 10-foot waves. Should be relatively quieter in the Gulf and the western side of the Caribbean. As far as rain totals go, a lot of impressive areas, my friends. Anywhere you see red is impactful rain. Again, hopefully we keep the heaviest rain just east of the Bahamas over the weekend. Look at all of that red fill back in. This could potentially be the most red on the map I've seen throughout the entire Atlantic hurricane season, where you just have so many areas that could see 2, 3, 4, even 5, 6 inches of rain for the week ahead. So at least 50 millimeters, but a lot of spots over 100, 150 millimeters. The maximum on this map is in the Pacific. That's 21 inches of rain. Not going to fall over our area, but you get the idea. Real quick look at the GFS model as well with the rainfall totals. And I bring this up because I just wanted to highlight again that not all of the models are as kind to the Bahamas. So when we look at the GFS, at the rainfall over just the next 5 days, this is the problem. This is the amount of rain that could fall in these spots. Yes, it does look like the most widespread, extremely significant rain is east, but could there be pockets over 4 inches? Yes. Is it going to fall right over the islands? Man, that's the big question, right? Do we get more than 4 inches at a couple of spots? East coast of Florida, again, 6+ inches of rain. I've got 3 to 5 overall for the east coast of Florida through the weekend, but there'll be locally higher amounts. Again, this is a really interesting scenario just south of Louisiana. Could that become tropical? I don't think it's out of the question. Hurricane Center's not highlighting it, but I've got my eyes on it. And I've mentioned Central America. So here you go again, just over the next few days. Look at some of the rainfall totals that could be falling in Belize, several inches. So an excessive rainfall watch is not out of the question there. Friends, I appreciate you guys. Follow us across all social media. We are indeed on Instagram, TikTok, where we do some exclusive content from time to time. X, Facebook, you want to send me a picture or video, easiest way to do that, myMediaMundo@gmail.com. You have a specific question about the forecast, drop it in the comments section below. Please remember that Media Mundo is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys, offering free consultation and policy reviews. They'll walk you through that insurance claim process. Go to leanonmelaw.com for more information. Friends, again, on the way out, thanks for liking and subscribing. Have a great rest of your day. I'm back soon with the latest forecast for you right here at Meteo Mundo.